Hi everyone, this is Ravi. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's been a while posting YouTube videos in my channel. So sorry for that. But however, as you all know, I have posted around 20 to 30 videos on Azure DevOps, and also I have posted around 30 to 40 YouTube videos on Tosca Automation tool. Okay, so I would appreciate you guys to visit the channel and go through those videos. So in today's session, I'm going to cover a topic related to Azure DevOps and the automation test scripts. So in this session, I'm going to cover how can we integrate your automation test scripts with Azure DevOps test plans. Okay, so that means how can you link an automation test scripts to one of your manual test case in test plan, and also how can you associate your automation test scripts with your manual test case in the test plan, and also how can you run and trigger your Selenium automation test scripts from test plan itself. That means by using manual test cases itself, you can trigger the corresponding automation test scripts. And also, how can you link automation test scripts to Azure DevOps user stories as well? Okay, so all these concepts I'm going to explain you in this session, but this session will be very high level session to get an overview, right? So after this, I'll be posting around 5 to 6 YouTube videos in detail explaining all these concepts. Please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. You'll receive a notification whenever I publish more videos on these different concepts. Thank you. So if you see in the screen, I'm also going to explain you how can we link automation test scripts to your manual test cases. So basically, while building your automation test scripts, right? So in this example, we are going to take a BDD or spec flow framework where you will have a feature file, right? So in the feature file, you will be defining your actual test scripts or use cases, right? So we will be linking those features to your manual test cases. Okay, so and also I'm going to explain you, if you see on the screen, if I go to the next slide, how can you run automation test scripts from test plans? Okay, so basically, how can I run these as linked automation test scripts from your Azure DevOps test plans? Okay, that I'm going to show you. And also we will be basically setting up the test plans in a such a way that we'll be associating your latest release or a pipeline to your test plan. So there is a prerequisite of your test plan settings where you will be associating your release pipeline to your test plans as shown in the picture. Okay, so it's a very high level, I'm telling you. Okay, so once we jump onto the system, I'm going to show you how to perform all these operations. However, in this session, I might be covering very high level to show how this end-to-end process can be achieved. But I'm going to post more videos with an explanation clearly how to build a framework, and then how can you associate your framework test scripts or feature files to your manual test cases in Azure DevOps test plans. Okay, so that I'm gonna tell you everything in upcoming YouTube videos. Okay, hope now let's jump onto the system and see what are we gonna cover in this session. Okay, practically. Okay, so now let's jump onto our system and let me show you practically how can we perform the activities whatever I explained you theoretically, right? So this session will be very high level session.
so that you can understand end-to-end framework to achieve the required target. Okay, so what is our target? Our target is how can we integrate our Selenium automation scripts with Azure DevOps, which means how can I link automation test scripts to manual test cases in Azure test plan, how to associate automation test scripts with manual test cases, right, in test plan, and how can we run and trigger Selenium automation test scripts from test plans, and also how to link automation test scripts to Azure DevOps user stories and tasks. Okay, so in this session how much I can cover I will cover, but you can expect rest of the topic in my next session. Okay, so before I start explaining you all these things, let me first explain what is my automation script that I have built. Okay, so this is my demo webshop TRICENTIS.com site. So my main aim of automation script, I have built around 5 to 6 test scripts to validate login functionality. Okay, by clicking on this login, and I'm going to enter some invalid username and password, and then I need to validate the invalid username error message. Okay, and also there is another test case where I will be validating the valid user login. So as soon as I log in, I need to place onto this particular page. That is another test case. What is another test case which I automated? So go to apparels and shoe, add one of the item to the cart and validate whether the shopping cart has been added with the item that we have added, right? So this is our entire shopping cart and test scripts whatever we built. Okay, and then you just log out. So basically I'm validating invalid user login and validating valid user login, and then also I'm validating shopping cart functionality, right? So these are the manual test cases that we need to automate, and once I automate, I need to link these automation test scripts to those corresponding manual test cases. Okay, so this is website, and then if I go to my Azure DevOps tenant, okay, so this is my Azure DevOps. Okay, I have built 6 manual test cases. If you see, this is my first manual test case where I'll be logging with valid user. Okay, so I'm logging in with my valid user. I'm not provided any steps. It's just a sample test case. That's why I'm not providing any test steps. Okay, you can provide your test steps. Basically, it's just enter URL, enter username, and then enter password. Click on login button. So it's basically my manual test case. Okay, so this is my manual test case, and this is another manual test case for invalid user login, and then this is one test case where I'll be validating the shopping cart by adding blue jeans, and then this is another same test case where I'll be validating the shopping cart by using apparels and shoe product. Okay, so these are all 4 different test cases, manual test cases, right? You understand, right? These are all my manual test cases in Azure test plans. Okay, I wrote manual test cases. Okay, and now we need to build automation test scripts for these manual test cases, right? So if you see here, this is my Visual Studio where I have built a BDD framework, means spec flow framework, because I'm using C#, NUnit framework C#. So I built BDD framework by using spec flow. Basically, if you are building by using Java, then you say BDD framework. But if you use Visual Studio C#, we say it as spec flow. Okay, so this is my spec flow framework. Okay, if you observe my project structure here, okay, I have two features. One is login feature, add to shopping cart feature. In login feature, if you see, I have first scenario where I have valid user login. I have second scenario where I am logging in with invalid user, right? Let me say invalid user, right? That's correct. And if you see another feature which is add to shopping cart, the first one is I'm adding apparel and shoe product page. I'm just basically validating the apparel and shoe product page link verification. And there is another scenario where I'll be adding a blue jeans to cart, and then I'm going to validate if I see that blue jeans in my shopping cart or not, right? These are my feature files. And for each feature file, for each scenario, I'll be creating steps, right? So for that, right click and then go to your step definition. Okay, so basically you can directly go to step definition, or you can, if you see here in the right side, I have login steps. This is one step definition for login feature. For login feature, I have defined all the steps in login steps definition, right? And add to shopping cart feature, all the step definitions are available in add to cart steps. Okay, these are all my step definitions for add to cart feature scenarios, right? And also if you see here, I have a driver helper where I'm basically initiating iWebDriver, and then I do have hooks. So what do you mean by hooks? Hooks concept is where I can define before test run what should I do, after test run what should I do, before feature what actions do I need to perform, after feature what actions I need to perform, right? And before scenario what actions do I need to perform. So for you, so if you see here, before scenario what I am doing, I'm basically initiating a Chrome browser, right? Chrome browser. And after scenario, I'm basically quitting the Chrome driver, right? I'm initiating the Chrome browser and then I'm quitting the driver as soon as the scenario is completed. Okay, basically for each scenario, it's gonna initiate the Chrome browser, and then it's gonna kill the browser, right? So that's the hooks. And then this is my overall project structure or automation project structure, right? So now I have manual test cases in my Azure DevOps, and then I have my entire code base for those manual test cases, automation test scripts basically in my local folder. Now what I did, I have basically, I need to check in. I already checked in my entire code base to my Azure DevOps. Okay, so where if you go to Azure DevOps again, from test plans, if I navigate to repos, right? If I go to repos and this one, so this is my entire project structure, whatever you are seeing in your Visual Studio. If you see the Solution Explorer, this replicates this structure. Okay, so that means I have already checked in my entire code to repos, right? And as you all know, I have already built a pipeline for this automation script. Basically, I have built a pipeline. So if you want to know how to create a pipelines, I have already published another video in my YouTube channel. You can refer that particular channel. So in this particular session, we are not going to concentrate on how to build pipeline. You can refer to that particular video. Okay. So here, one thing is, yes, I can run the pipeline so that the code from this particular repos will be utilized and the entire Selenium script will be run. Okay, so that is known technology. That means I'm just running the pipeline. So let me just run the pipeline. No, before I run the pipeline, I don't want to run the pipeline. It will take some time. Okay, so I can just directly click on run pipeline, right? And then which will initiate your test script. But now if I run the pipeline, okay, let me run the pipeline, okay, let me run the pipeline and show you the results. Okay, run pipeline. I have already created local agent. Okay, click on run. So as soon as you click on run, it creates a new build, right? This is my new build which is running on my system. Okay, so it's checking out the code to Azure repos, from Azure repos, and then it starts creating the pipeline. Okay, so let's wait for the pipeline to be run. So before, while running the pipeline, so let me also show you. So I have already created my local agent. If you see here, I have my local agent. So this is my local agent, right, which is actually sitting in my virtual machine. I'm actually executing all my test cases in my virtual machine. If you see, this is my virtual machine. So that local agent is already available in virtual machine, and this local agent is, if you see here, this is running it up and running. If you click on this local agent, so this local agent is running. So if you see here, this local agent is online, and if you see the jobs, currently that local agent, we are running one job on that particular local agent, which means my virtual machine basically. So now let me just go back to pipeline again. Okay, so it's taking bit time because my virtual machine is bit slow. Please bear with me, but for sure you're gonna learn how can, I mean, it's really very important session for everyone, because not everyone knows this technology. Okay, so if you see here, it's running, the job is running here. Okay, so it's building. Okay, so basically, so once it starts test cases, right, a Chrome browser should open, and then it should execute my first test case login with valid user and then invalid user, and then verify appearance and shoe link, and then also validate the shopping cart functionality. Okay, so now, so let's wait. So it's basically publishing the artifacts, and now it starts our test cases. Okay, so once it is done, it starts our test cases, automation test scripts. Now it triggers our automation test scripts. Okay, so let's see. Right, so it is basically taking all the tests. See, if you see, my Chrome browser is opened here. Okay, it is going to enter the demo web shop URL. Once it enters the demo web shop URL, it should execute valid user. My system is very slow. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's entered the URL. Once it enters the URL, it should log in now. Should click on login, and then shit, system is very slow. Sorry guys, that's okay. And then enter username and then password. So I clicked on, so I have entered wrong username password and then validated the error message. Now it should run the second test case. Now it should be at least fast now. Let's see. So second test case is successful login. Okay, so now the successful login, it should click on login, enter your username and password, valid. Oh, this is also invalid. Okay, this is also invalid. Let's see. Now, so there are two invalids. Yeah, let me tell you again. Okay, so it basically executes around 6 test cases. Okay, the script has 6 test cases. This is my successful login, that is done, and then I might have another unsuccessful login. Okay, let me see. This is again unsuccessful login. Now this time again it's gonna log in with successful, and then it's gonna validate our shopping cart functionality. Okay, so it entered, and then it's gonna click on apparels and shoe, and then added shopping cart, and then it's gonna validate in the shopping cart. Okay, and then again now we'll be validating a link. So this is our last test case. Okay, that's it. So the test case execution is done. So now it's going to publish all the artifacts. Okay, we'll wait, and then let me show you the results. Okay, even though this is not our main agenda of our thing of session, okay, but it's required for us. Okay, successful. Okay, done. So now see, we have executed automation test scripts by using pipeline. So what is the disadvantage? So if you see my test results, so this is my last build which is successful, and if I want to see my test results, I have to go to this navigation, and then I click on test, and if you see all 6 test cases is passed, right? So let me, so if you see here, see all my test cases are passed, but these test results are not visible to the higher management. See, because if in test plan, if you are executing your manual test cases, right, you will have pass and fail criteria, and then those can be pulled to your dashboard easily. Okay, now because I have created my manual test cases, and I have created my all dashboard templates to pull all the metrics in my dashboard, so why should I need a different report called pipelines, and why should I publish a different automation report? Because see most of the clients, so lot of clients ask this requirement. Okay, as I'm already creating my dashboards, right, and I already have my manual test cases, why do I need a different report as I already have my manual test cases, and I'm generating the reports from my manual test cases, right? So then why can't we, so these are my 6 manual test cases, why can't I link these manual test cases to my these 6 automation test scripts, so that whenever I run these test scripts, the test results should get updated in my test plan for the corresponding manual test case, and then I should have ready dashboard here, because I already created my dashboard from my manual test cases, right? So why should I need to have extent reports, Allure reports for automation test scripts? Why do I need to build a separate execution mechanism or separate execution reports for automation test scripts? It's a redundancy. So most of the clients, they ask, okay, I have my manual test cases. Can you please link those manual test cases to your automation test scripts? Whenever you run the test scripts, the corresponding manual test case should pass, fail, right? So that is the requirement. So here, now I have built already my 6 different test cases, and these are my corresponding automation scripts. If you observe, my first test case is login using SpecFlow, valid user login. That means here my valid user login user as administrator, right? And the next test case is login with an invalid user, login user as invalid. So that means this is my feature, this is my scenario, right, which I have automated. And then add blue jeans to cart. If I see, I already have one test case, validate shopping cart functionality by adding blue jeans. Okay, this is my manual test case, and this is my corresponding feature scenario here, right, this one. And then validate apparel and shoe link, right, this is my manual test case, and this is my corresponding test script, right? Now how can I link these functions, features to my manual test cases? It's simple. Okay, so see, I'm explaining very high level. Okay, so you have a lot of preconditions to achieve this particular task. So I'm going to publish more videos in detail how to build from the scratch. Okay, but for this session I'm explaining you on a high level. Okay, so this is my valid user as administrator, okay, which is this one. What is my test case ID? It's 276. So for that, right click on your feature file, right click on your test, and then click on associate to test case. So before I click on associate to test case, I have already connected my solution explorer to Azure DevOps. If you see here, I'm already connected to my Azure DevOps here. Okay, so that's the reason I can see my check-in functionality, right? All the check-in functionalities I can see here. Okay, I already integrated, I already logged in Azure DevOps from, I already linked my Azure DevOps session in Visual Studio. Okay, I'm going to explain how to do step by step in next videos. Okay, right click on this, click on associate to test cases. So as soon as if you can see here, this particular test is already associated with 276 test case ID. If you see 276 test cases ID. If I want to associate a new test case, you just need to enter your test case and click on add associate. Because this test case is already exist, it's saying it's already exist. Okay, and in the same way, login user as invalid admin. So this is my invalid 280. Right click, click on associate test case. If you see, my 280 test case also associated already. And then what about add blue jeans? Right click, associate test case. So if I see 284, so this is my 284. And then the next test, associate test case, 286. So this is my 286 test case. These are already associated, right? So I have associated. If I click, let me show you, once you associate your automation scripts to your manual test cases, if I right click and then click on edit test case, and if you navigate to your associated automation tab for the manual test case, I can see my automated test name. If you observe this clearly, it says BDD C sharp. If you see here, BDD C sharp N unit, right? Under that login feature, this is my login feature file. Under login feature, I have a function called login user as admin, login user as administrator, right? In the same way, if I go to shopping cart, okay, go to associated. Here, if you see, add to cart feature, right? This is the feature file. Under this feature, the scenario called add blue jeans to cart, add blue jeans to cart. So that means we have associated automation test scripts for all these manual test cases. Okay, so once you associate the test scripts, all you need to do is you need to basically, because you need to build your release as well. Okay, this is very important. To run your automation test scripts from test plans, you have to create releases along with the pipeline. I already created. Now I am creating releases. If you see, I have already created one release called execute flow test, okay, where I have one. So basically I linked my build whatever I created pipeline, right? I have linked that pipeline to this particular pipeline as an artifact, and then I created one task. What is my job? This is my task. I am basically created one stage 1 task where I'm actually calling Visual Studio Test platform installer. Okay, this is very important because we are running by using test plans, right? This Visual Studio Test platform installer will contact with official NuGet package, and it brings all the packages related, which is helpful in running the automation test scripts from test plans. Okay, I'm gonna explain in detail in further videos. Okay, and also I've created another task for test run, Visual Studio test. Okay, so this is my release. Okay, this is why this is required. So let me just go back to test plans now. Okay, now I want, if you see, these test cases are showing as fail. Okay, now I want to run these 4 test cases. Login with valid user. So one advantage here is, see, once you associate all the test cases to your test scripts, you need not to run this entire project at once. You need not to run the test cases corresponding to this entire project. I can run whatever the test case I want to run. Okay, so I want to run these 4 test cases out of these 6 test cases, right? So for that, what I need to do, you need to select the required manual test cases that you want to run, and then click on run with options. And here you need to select automated tests using release stage. That means I already created one release, correct? And all these manual test cases are associated with the corresponding script, automation script, and then click on run. So as soon as you click on run, it triggers the test scripts. Okay, so you can just click on view test run. So it basically takes you to the run test runs under Azure DevOps. Okay, so for now it is not required. If I go to releases now, if you can see, one new release might have been triggered. Okay, click on releases. So as soon as you click on releases, if you see, okay, let me go to releases. If you see here, one new release, if you see, has been kick started. Okay, click on this new release 51. Now this new release is running. See, if you see, it picked up your pipeline and it is downloading artifacts. It started this stage 1 task. Okay, so it's basically, it's building artifacts and then it's gonna start our test. Okay, so we are gonna, let's wait for some time. See, what are all our prerequisites to achieve this? One is You need to have manual test cases defined in your test plan. You need to have corresponding test scripts written in Visual Studio C Sharp, because see Java is, see whatever the functionality I'm talking, Java will not support all this functionality, basically linking your automation test scripts here with your manual test cases. Okay, so you need to have your automation test scripts ready for each manual test case, and then you need to associate your automation test scripts to your manual test cases, and then you need to build your pipeline, and then you need to build your releases. Okay, so now a Chrome browser should open, because we are running these 4 test cases, right? And also once the run is completed, if you see here, these all 4 showing as in progress. Okay, once the run is completed, if the test case is passed, if the automation test script is passed, the corresponding test case should be passed. Okay, I think here it automation test script started, so it's executed first test case, okay, which is my invalid test case, I think. Okay, invalid user login test case. Click on login, and then enter username, password. Okay, okay, this is your valid username. Okay, valid, successful login. And now it's unsuccessful login. The second test case, manual test case, is unsuccessful login, right? So it's going to execute our unsuccessful login. Right, it's unsuccessful. What is my next manual test case? It's adding blue jeans to cart. Now login, okay, appearance in shoe, and then it's going to add to the cart, and then it's going to validate the cart. Done. And what is my next one is appearance in shoe page link validation. Just log in and then validate the appearance in shoe link. Okay, that's it. So it completed run. So let's go to release again. Okay, let me open a new window. So if you go to see your releases, your release should be successful. If you see, it's still running. Okay, so basically it's publishing the artifacts, etc, etc. Okay, anyway, so if I go back to test plan, right, now if I refresh this, all my test cases should pass, correct? Let me refresh this. Okay, I refreshed it. If you see here, if you see, my first test case is passed, second is passed, third is passed, fourth is passed, right? We run only these 4 test cases. I never run these 6. That's why it's showing in progress. But the status of these test cases got successful. That means I have executed part of my manual test cases directly from test plan, right? So it's really helpful feature, guys. Okay, so if you have any questions, okay, just leave comments in the comment box. I'll be replying to each and every query. Okay, so next I'm going to explain how did we achieve this from scratch. Okay, I'll start creating manual test cases, and then I'm going to start creating automation test scripts for each manual test case, and then how can we integrate your automation test scripts with your Azure DevOps, and then how to build releases, and then how can we run your automation test scripts from test plans. Okay, so I'm going to publish around 4 to 5 additional videos by explaining in detail, okay, by building the framework and everything. Okay, hope you all understand the concepts. Okay, please do subscribe to the channel, click on bell icon. Thank you.